Hi, I'm Mrs. Fullbright. I teach English at Knightdale High School of Collaborative Design. Welcome to my classroom.
One of my favorite parts of every class period is getting to greet each student at the door as they come in, and then at the beginning of class, sharing good things. So both of these things have really helped me to cultivate really positive relationships with all of my students. And it's even gotten to the point our atmosphere in the classroom is so positive that some of my students argue over who gets to lead good things at the beginning of each class period. And it's just become a place where people feel safe and people feel like they want to share things with each other, and people are genuinely interested to hear about what's going on with each person in the class.
Everybody clap.
In addition to creating positive relationships with my students and creating a safe learning environment for them, I also take the 4 C's very seriously. And you can see evidence of all of them in my class on almost a daily basis. For instance, this activity that we did recently was after we read Thoreau's piece, Where I Lived and What I Lived For. Once we read it and discussed it in class, students were then supposed to create their own interpretation of where they live and what they live for. And instead of requiring them to write an essay, I opened it up to student choice to allow them to express their ideas about this particular topic in a media that best suited their own creativity. And the responses that I got for it were just amazing. Students, when allowed to use their talents and their creativity and their love for things other than just essay writing, they just really blossomed and turned into some amazing projects. As far as collaboration is concerned, my tables in my room are already set up in groups, so students are encouraged to collaborate with each other on a daily basis. And we often have projects that are group projects that require students to communicate with each other and rely on each other in order to produce a certain product at the end of the project. We also do various team building activities throughout the year. For instance, in my AP seminar class, we use the Sphero robots from our media center to set up an obstacle course, and the groups had to work together in order to move that robot through the obstacle course. And while on the surface that doesn't really seem like anything that would pertain to a research class, it was something that really built team trust and really showed students the importance of communicating with each other and relying on that communication in order to put something together and create the outcome that they really wanted. For communication, it would seem like that would be something pretty easy to incorporate in an English class since we focus so much on writing. But there are other forms of communication that we do use in my classroom on a regular basis, in addition to the essays that students write for my class. We often discuss things as a class. Students are encouraged to do presentations where they present their own ideas or their own research on something. And then, of course, for critical thinking, it's something that my students use every single day. I am not one of those teachers that gives students the answer quickly. I encourage them to think things through themselves and to help guide them to the correct answer or the correct way to do something instead of just flat out telling them. Another area where I develop critical thinking skills for my students is our grading policy. I've developed a mastery grading system that I implement in my AP language classes, and part of that process requires students to participate in a grade conference with me at the end of each quarter. And that allows us the opportunity to sit down together and discuss their progress and what they might be struggling with, but it also allows them to be an active participant in the assessment process for the class.
And I really love her projects because they were always interesting. I actually wanted to do them. I would actually want to do them because I was able to use a lot of my skills, like artistic skills, or write about how I felt and not have to use a prompt or something, because prompts have always been really hard for me. So she allowed me to be myself in her classroom and with schoolwork, and I really appreciate her because she's helped me drastically bump my scores up on my standardized tests, and she just made me a better person overall, a better student.